Today, I want to talk about my 2024 resolution and goals, and this may take longer than a year or may take shorter than a year, but these are kind of the goals that I want to strive towards. So, the first goal I want to do is finish paying off my Index Universal Life policy and my Variable Universal Life policy. So, I opened up whole life policies back in 2019 and 2020, and one is an Index Universal Life Insurance policy. So the concept behind, and the other one is the Variable Universal Life policy. So the concept behind these policies is that it's kind of taking advantage of life insurance, which is tax-free, but what you do is you max fund the life insurance policy, and then whatever the difference is of money after fees, that gets invested into like the S&P 500, for example. So for example, let's just say I'm investing $5,000 a month into my Index Universal Life Insurance policy, and let's just say the fees, I'm making it up, but let's say it's $1,000, and I have $4,000 in excess money that goes into the S&P 500 and that gets invested. And the Index Universal Life policy that varies between the variable is that the Index Universal Life has a ceiling and a floor. So a ceiling would be like, let's say it's 15%. So if that month, if the S&P 500 went above 15%, let's say it's 30%, it would just cap you at 15%, so you get paid 15% on your money. If let's just say the market goes down by 30% and there's a floor of 1%, then you still get paid 1% on your money. So the floor prevents you from losing money, but the ceiling kind of limits your upside, right? So it's kind of more of a steady Eddie investment, right? And with universal life insurance, because you're paying for life insurance, there's fees. There are more fees, right? Like if you compare the Index Universal Life policy, Variable Universal Life policy, compared to like a Vanguard Index Fund, the Vanguard Index Fund has a fee of like 0.04%, which is nothing and very little, which is why I like it, right? But if you look at Index Universal Life, Variable Universal Life Insurance, the fees up front for the first 10 years are a lot, right? But if you average out the fees over the whole life of the policy, so the rest of your life, right, then it averages around 1% a year, right? So that's something to consider. I know the whole life investing policy gets a bad rap, but if you take advantage of it, so let's say I max fund the policy over 7 years. So, let's say for simplicity, you can max fund $700,000 over 7 years. That means that you could put $100,000 into the life insurance policy every year. But if you go beyond that $100,000 a year, let's say you put $120,000 a year, what happens is that it will convert from a whole life insurance policy into investment property or into an investment vehicle, and at that point it doesn't get the tax-free advantages. All right, so the loophole people take is, your life insurance grows, it grows tax-free. When you die, your beneficiaries, your kids, for example, will get the lump sum of the life insurance plus whatever money grew, right? So let's just say I bought a $2 million life insurance policy. I've put in $700,000 over 7 years, and let's just say the cash value doubled over time. So let's just say the cash value is at 1.4 million. So now all in, the policy's worth $3.4 million. Assuming you never pull money out tax-free, you're basically, your kids will inherit $3.4 million tax-free, right? And they just submit your death certificate and then they get the money tax-free. Let's just say I want to make draws against my life insurance policy. So let's just say, I have $1.4 million in the policy and I want to start using this money for myself. So you can start taking loans against your life insurance policy, and because you're taking loans against your life insurance policy, it basically it's tax-free, right? So if I want to pull out $10,000, $100,000 from my whole life policy as a loan, that's tax-free money, but I have to pay interest on that loan, right? And typically the interest might be a little bit lower, like maybe 1 to 2%. But the concept is, if I'm paying, let's say I'm borrowing $100,000 against my life insurance policy, and let's just say I use that $100,000 to invest in something that earns me 7%. It's just leverage, right? So I'm paying 2%, I'm earning 7%, so my margin is 5%. and then you factor in the 1% fee, you're earning 4% on your money. So, whole life insurance isn't for everybody. I would say it's not for, it depends on your situation. If you're a single income earner, I'd say it's a great option to have. Obviously term is like cheaper, the cheapest. Like, you should at least have term. But if you, basically want to max fund it, and what I mean by max funding is the minimum, usually the quote you get for life insurance is the minimum. So they might be like, oh, minimum for this $2 million whole life policy is $500. But what you want to ask is, what's the max fund? And the max fund might be like $3,000-$4,000 a month, and that's the number that you want to invest every month, right? So, and you can do it over time, right? It doesn't have to be in 7 years. You could do it slower than 7 years, as long as it's at least 7 years. So, for me, I want to finish max funding these before I am consider myself retired, right, from my W-2. So I want to pay off my IUL, my VUL, which is probably about $200,000 total, $100K each. That's my first goal. And sorry for my huge tangent on whole life insurance. Just wanted to give some context as to why I'm doing it. I would say if you are getting a lot of cash flow, you have a high income W-2, you're making good money, and you don't mind max funding it, then do it. Or you're single income, do it. If not, not for everybody, right? It's a different tool for a different purpose. So just know the purpose, right? My next goal is I want to finish paying up my line of credit and my Tesla car payment. So my line of credit, I got through First Republic Bank, which is now bankrupt, but my interest rate's only 2.5%. And I use this to renovate my apartment complexes, but because interest rate's 2.5%, I'm in no rush to pay this off fast. I'm making the minimum payments. It'll be done in about 5 years if I do nothing, because it's a 5-year loan. My Tesla, it's about $47,000, and I had to buy a new car because my BMW broke down. I'm driving so much. I'm getting free supercharger for 6 months, so that pays for the car payment right now. I qualified for the $7,500 federal tax credit, so I did 100% financing, but I actually got paid $7,500 when I fill out my tax returns for 2024 for the prior year, and I get free supercharging. I was spending about $700 a month on gas, and given the holidays, I've been traveling a lot, even more, driving a lot, so it's saving me more money. But my interest rate is around 6.5%, so it's higher than my other line of credit. So I'd pay off my Tesla car payment first, and then at that point I want to finish those off because I want to get those obligations off my neck. Those are bad debt, right, relatively speaking, so I want to pay that off. Next, I want to build up a $150,000 emergency reserve. So I dipped into my emergency reserve as I scaled, and I had $200,000 emergency reserve. I blew through that, so now I'm back to the point of I wanted to build up 150K. Why 150K? I have no idea. It's just a number that feels comfortable to me, where if, let's say, a roof broke and I needed $30,000 to repair it, I wouldn't be stressed. So for me, I don't know a rhyme or reason. It's 150K, and once I have kids and a family, it's probably going to increase to mitigate my risk, right? Because for me, I'm doing real estate for lifestyle purposes and not to stress myself out. And I want to make sure I hold onto my real estate, long term. So my next one is I want to save for a house, right? So I want to save for a house that me and my girlfriend will live in together. We currently own a lot of single family homes. Like, I own a bunch, and she owns one, but maybe if we want to be in a different area, I want to save for a house and put about 10% down each. My next goal is I want to travel more regularly internationally. So I used to travel 2 or 3 times a year, and to be honest, during COVID, the past 3 years, when I was scaling my real estate, that's one thing that kind of fell off for me because I was really stressed. I was stressed financially, and I just couldn't be in the right mindset to travel. So now that I'm less stressed, I'm in a better place now. I wanted to prioritize traveling at least 2 times a year. I'm going to Japan in March of this year, and I want to continue traveling at least every 4 to 6 months. 2 big international trips, road trips here and there. I just went camping in the Valley of Fire State Park in Las Vegas, in my Tesla. So just doing spontaneous road trips, on long weekends, but also traveling internationally whenever I can, right? Whenever I have the opportunity I should travel while I'm still young. So I want to travel at least 2-3 times a year internationally. That's a non-negotiable now. The next is be spontaneous with road trips and camping my Tesla. So I camped in my Tesla for the first time. I'll make another video about that. But it was nice, right? Like, you set camping mode so you can set the temperature in your car. It's cheap, right? Like, campsite's only like $30 a night. And it's very nice to be in nature and to reset your mind, right? Like, when you're in nature, it helps boost your serotonin, which gives you more gratitude. It resets your dopamine levels, and just it's great just to get away and kind of simplify your life a little bit, right? So I'm trying to incorporate more of that escape to an area where there's no signal. It's very simple, a lot of nature. You're living out of your car, you're living out of a backpack. It's a very simple life, and it's a nice reset. Like, I feel a lot more recharged now that I was out for just a day in nature, right? My next one is I want to work out at least 4 times a week. So I used to work out 4 times a week pre-COVID. So in 2020, that's when I really lost my habit of, because all the gyms closed and I stopped working out consistently. But I used to work out 3 to 4 times a week and lift very heavy. Now I'm trying to build that habit. I lost the consistency, but I want to work out 4 times a week. It could be a simple 15-minute workout. The goal is I want to do 12 sets a day, maybe 3 to 4 exercises using dumbbells. And I have dumbbells in my apartment, so there's no excuse, right? I have a gym in my apartment too, so there's definitely no excuse. But for me, just do a little bit, right? Like, just do 12 sets, 8 reps and 3 different muscle groups, right? So that I can sustain, and once I get in that habit, I'll slowly scale. So for me, I'm aiming for every day that I'm home, right? I just want to work out, do the best I can. And my kind of next goal is I want to accept bad days more. Like, for me, I used to wake up and be like, why am I so tired? Why am I feeling shitty? Why am I grouchy, right? And to me, it's just like, I kind of reframe my mindset now, where it's just like, well, it's just being a human, right? Like, you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days. Just like there's sunny days and there's rainy days. Like, for some reason, we attribute sunny days to being good and being better, and rainy days to being bad, right? But if you're in Seattle and it rains all the time, then maybe for you, rainy day is good, sunny day is bad. Like, it's an arbitrary assignment, right? And it just comes and goes, right? There's going to be, maybe in a month, you're going to have 20 good days, 10 bad days. As long as there's more good days and bad days, that's fine, right? If there's a bad day, then don't beat yourself over it. Just roll with it, right? Maybe take it easy that day, right? So I'm trying to be less hard on myself. Like, if I'm having a bad day, I woke up and just tired, then I'm just tired. Then just relax, take it easy, and go to sleep early, right? Don't beat yourself up. And another thing I want to do is being less self-critical on myself. So I'm my own harshest critic, right? Like, I've always been that way, and it stemmed from me having low self-esteem. I created a video about low self-esteem, but I am my own harshest critic. Like, I criticize myself harder than anyone else could. And it might stem from my insecurity of, you can't criticize me if I criticize myself first and harder. But if you were to take my self-critical voice and put it into somebody, another person, you would consider that person toxic, right? So you have to be very mindful of your self-critical talk. Like, I used to think oh, I'm a lazy piece of shit. I didn't work out today. I didn't do anything today. Like, I'd beat myself. I'm so stupid. Why did I know that? Why did I invest in the mobile home park? Why am I so stupid? Why did I invest in this mobile home park? Why did I invest in this business, right? Like, don't be so hard. Like, hey, you tried it. You thought it was good at the time based on the data that you had, which may not have been good data, and you did it, you learned, you lived, right? So don't beat yourself up too hard. You tried. Now I reframe it as, you know what, Steven? You tried, you took a swing, and you missed. And it's okay. Now you have a life lesson for the rest of your life that you're never going to forget. So, that's why, I don't beat myself up as much. Like, okay, hey, I couldn't work out today. I tried to, just couldn't happen. And, maybe tomorrow I'll do it, right? So, don't beat yourself up too hard, but also don't, be lazy too, right? It's a fine balance, but don't beat yourself up too hard if you can't do something or meet something. So, overall, hopefully you found value from my goals for 2024 and beyond, and kind of what I'm aiming for. Please let me know if you have any questions down below, and would love to know what your 2024 resolutions are. And make sure that when you set a goal, make sure you can stick to it for the rest of your life, right? So that it becomes a habit. Like, I've been saying for the past 3 years that I want to work out consistently and I haven't because of real estate. But now that I don't have real estate, now I'm like, all right, how can I sustain this? So what I do is I train my brain now. When I watch sports on TV, I'm working out now, right? So every time there's sports, football, basketball, I'm working out. So I'm training myself to do that. Or if I have like a quick 15-20 minute break, just work out real quick. So hopefully you found value from this video. Let me know if you have questions down below. Please subscribe, share this video if you found it valuable. Hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much.